program.
They just asked how you ended up getting into road courses.
And in 2005, this is the true story, I met with Chip Ganassi, and I was trying to get into his IndyCar program, and he said, "You're young, you're American, and you're fat. You need to go stock car racing." That's what he said. And so I switched gears, and I went into the ARCA series, which is at the time only ovals. There was no road courses, and no one really knew that I had done a lot of road racing, because you know how you get in your own little bubble, right? And NASCAR was kind of in their own bubble. They're like, "Who's this guy?" And I just didn't talk about it. I didn't talk about what I'd done or accomplishments that I might have had in road racing or open wheel cars.
Strong silent type, right?
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, that actually came from Scott Pruitt and Boris Head. So I was racing sports cars with Scott Pruitt and Boris Head, and Boris was like, "You don't want to be a road course ringer, you just want to be one of those guys." And he's like, I came in as a road course ringer, and that's what I got labeled, and that's kind of why my career in NASCAR didn't work, because I was just a road course guy. And Scott Pruitt kind of told me the same thing, like, just go figure it out. Fly under the radar, don't talk about it. And when the day comes, maybe it'll work out for you. It just took me 16 years for that day to come and work out. So,
but it also, Michael, took you 19 years. You've been around this game a long time. You still look young. You still look young and fit, but you've been around this game a long time, and I think you're one of the great examples why whatever you want to do in life, people, don't give up. Don't ever give up, because you stuck with this thing, Michael, and here you are. Qualifying on poles last year, which you'd never done before, and continuing to run hard in this thing. How good does it feel for you to look back on the kind of career you've had and the fact that it's still going after almost 2 decades?
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm super thankful, because if you'd have told me those first 2 years that I'd do this for 20 years, I told you you're out of your mind. There's no way. Just because it just wasn't going well, and the hard part about this sport, and Kenny knows it, is like, until you sit in good equipment and you have a proper race team behind you, doesn't matter how good you are, you're not going to be able to show it. You can survive and you can grind it out, which that's what I did. I was just surviving. That was basically the minimum. So for me, it actually has been awesome, because every year it's just gotten a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. And even though it's been a long time, I'm starting to feel like right now is my prime. Like, I'm in the best equipment I've ever been, with the best team, feeling great about our chances of going and contending. So I'm not burnt out or wore out, because I was more wore out and burnt out not being competitive.
You're reborn.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're running
sure.
good.
Yeah, absolutely. So.
Talk a little bit about that with Spire Motorsports and jumping into a new number, a new car, new team, especially at that point in your career where you're feeling like you're the best. How has that changed your approach to racing, and especially on a course like this?
Well, for here, it changed a lot, because this has actually not been a real strong track for me. We've had decent runs, but we haven't been like as competitive as we normally are on road courses. And so it allowed us a little bit of freedom to go try some new setups in more of the direction of what Spire's been doing. So, a lot of this road course racing is kind of tuned for the driver and their feel of what they like. And so today I'm going into it with kind of fresh eyes and a brand new, setup and kind of philosophy. If we were going to Sonoma, where we ran second the last, 2 years there, I'd be like, no, I'm going to run what we ran.
Yeah, don't change anything.
But being that we haven't run so well here, I was like, all right, let's go for it. Let's try it, and let's see, what it feels like and if it fits my style. So yesterday did not go great as far as qualifying goes. I just made two mistakes, and really that's all it takes. But felt like we were really fast in race trim. We were definitely a top 5 car. So I have a little bit of work to do from where I qualified, but feel confident that we'll be able to move forward. So hopefully it'll be a great day.
It is an exciting time here at Circuit of America, and we're going to ask all the drivers this question. The road course used to be 3.4 miles long. Now it's 2.4. I'm hearing positive vibes. But just talk about this facility now being 1 mile shorter. What does that do for you, the team, fuel mileage, driving? You like it, you don't like it.
I got
Yeah,
a
that's a
little
great
depth of field
question.
effect.
So I like it because I wasn't very good on the old configuration. So when they're like, hey, they're going to make a change, I'm like, okay, change is good, right? Because if you're not very good somewhere, change is always helpful, or at least you hope that it's helpful. As far as the strategy and the fuel mileage and the stages and all that, NASCAR does a pretty good job of like, they shortened it, but they lengthened the laps and it's all the same, right? And
They got that TV window.
Yeah.
We got to have 3 hours of racing.
So I think you'll see strategy be very similar. That the cars that are running up front that feel like they can win the race, they're going to flip those stages and pit before the end of the stage. And you know, the guys that are running 10th to 15th that don't really feel like they have a shot at winning, they'll try to get some of those stage points. And you know, stage points go a long way, especially later on in the season. But our mindset is if we can move forward from where we're at and our car is as strong as we think it is, we're going to do everything we can to put ourselves in position to win. And that usually means not scoring stage points. That usually means coming early, getting your stop done, and gaining that track position late, which, you know, is a compromise. And you go into it knowing that because you can get crashed in that last segment and you're like, man, I wish I'd have took those 20 stage points because right now I got nothing to show for it. But you're not going to win the race like that. And I think that that's kind of the mentality that we take is, you know, winning a race right now in the Cup Series is the only thing that matters. It's the only thing that guarantees you a shot at a championship and in the playoffs. So you got to set yourself up for that opportunity.
I want to ask the crowd here, what did you think of the Xfinity race yesterday? Did you guys enjoy that?
It was good. It was
That was
race.
Good, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, Quapple was the standout for me. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone.
He's not a road racer.
Yeah, everyone knew that Connor. You know,
Short track.
Connor is super elite. We all know that. Like what he's doing is, you know, unfathomable of how good he is. But to see Quapple up there dicing it up, and that's a short track guy with no road course experience. You know?
He doored him.
Yeah, and so I was super entertained. I thought it was great. The junior motorsports teammates, though, are the best on the planet because they wreck the snot out of each other. And there's like no etiquette and there's no team orders. So those guys have always been like that. And it doesn't matter if it was Noah when he was there or Mayer, they all run into each other like crazy. So I imagine Dale Jr.'s got to go gray watching these races.
He loved it. He posted
I mean,
on
Jason
Twitter. He was
loved
like,
it, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, he loved it because he won and they didn't crash each other. Yeah, they're wild. Those junior motorsports guys are wild.
And Monday morning meeting's going to be interesting.
I don't even know if they have them. I mean,
They might not have one.
when I watch it, I'm like, oh, that's going to be awkward. You know, Martinsville, places like that where they run into each other, green, white, checkered. I'm like, ooh, that's not fun.
Michael, one of the best pieces we've seen on TV so far this year is the story that Tom Rinaldi did on your family. It was absolutely awesome. It was captivating. It must have been really fun from the other side because I don't know if there's a guy out there that races that is quite like you in terms of you know, being a family man, and it was such a great opportunity for us to get a look inside that.
Yeah, it was great. It was really cool. You know, Tom did a great job, and to be honest with you, my wife and I weren't sure that we were going to do it because we didn't go through the adoption program and we didn't go through the process because we wanted attention, right? And so we've always been like, that's a personal decision our family made, and you know, we didn't want to highlight it because also too, when you know our adopted son Lucas, when you highlight it, it makes him feel more out of place rather than in place, right? And so we've always been super sensitive to it, not talking about it a lot. I mean, if you came up to me, we would talk about it, but just not on TV and media and things like that. But we felt like this is a great opportunity. If it encourages another family out there to adopt, that's awesome. And Lucas, our son, he wanted to do it.
Very nice.
And so we asked Lucas, like, hey, do you want to do this? You know, he's 11 years old now, and so obviously he can make some of those decisions on his own. And he wanted to do it, so we went forward, and they did a great job. And you know, now that I've done it, I'm so thankful we did, because in 20 years or 30 years or 50 years when I'm not here, you know, he'll be able to show his grandkids that piece, right? And that's pretty cool. That's something that'll be special that not everybody gets to have those memories captured, and so that part of it's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's heartwarming.
Cal Petty once said, and Cal's going to be up here after our show. Him and Michael Waltrip.
You're excited about that?
I love Cal Petty too. Cal Petty, you know, is ultra famous, but he said something I'll never forget. He says, when you win a Daytona 500, you're not a winner, you're a champion. So you are a Daytona 500 champion. I can't look at you and we can't, give him a round. Yeah, and then look at that.
The flag
Look
right
at
there.
that.
I like that.
Awesome. Hey, if you don't mind,
Here,
turn
I'll bring it
around
up.
and show that because we're live streaming here. Hello, everybody. So let's just ask the question. You are there you go.
Champion.
That's awesome.
Texas is always windy, everybody. What does it feel like being known as you are a Daytona 500 champion?
Well, it's unreal. I mean, it just is. It's a dream come true. Especially for how my career has gone. You know, it was such a grind, but those super speedways were my shot, and we knew it. And
you gotta get it
and
where
we
you
got
can.
good at it, and we got really good at it.
You're still
and,
good.
And felt like it was coming. I know that for a lot of people, it seemed like this big surprise. But the year before we finished 4th, the year before we finished 6th, and I'd been in those pictures coming to the line where you're 3 and 4 wide, just in the wrong row, you know. And so I knew that there was going to be an opportunity that it's coming, and so for it to finally happen, it was just a dream come true. It's amazing to win a cup race. It's hard to win cup races, any cup race, but to win the Daytona 500 is so difficult. And you look at the guys that haven't won the Daytona 500 that have been really good at those
Rusty
places.
Wallace, Mark Martin,
And
all
then,
the big boys.
and then I'll throw the guys that I race with, like Brad Keselowski. The guy's won like 8 times at Talladega, right?
He's been leading come to the
He
line
is
of the
led
Daytona
coming to the white
500.
flag.
And won the Daytona 499 a bunch of times.
So it just shows how hard it is, right? And so to be one of the very few guys that have won the Daytona 500, it's something that I'll cherish forever.
Where's your
for sure.
ring at? When do you wear that ring? Big dinners or?
Okay, you guys want a funny story?
Yes, we do.
Because this was the most recent. It'll give you an insight to the relationship and my sense of humor. But Carson was giving me a hard time about something. He wanted to go karting. And I'm like, man, I can't. I had to pick the kids up from school. And he was like, well, just remember that when I'm passing you in the rain or whatever it was. He was talking junk, right? And so then he started sending me results, which he is really good on road courses. He sent me some results from last year where he beat me at Watkins Glen by a spot and stuff like that. And he said, stats don't lie. So I went and got my Daytona 500 ring. I got my Brickyard ring, and I got my Rolex, and I just took a picture of it and just sent him the picture. And I said, stats don't lie. That was the last time that I wore it. I had a lot of fun with that. But yeah, sometimes you break it out, but it's not something you can, it's huge. I mean, it is massive. You wouldn't want to wear it today. I mean, it literally feels like you're wearing a boxing glove.
Just a comment real quick, Jose. And everybody knows this. Big brother Rusty Wallace says, it's sad to say, you got to remind people because they remember what they want to. So get that damn ring out. Anytime you need to.
Start wearing it all the time.
Final question, then we got to let you go.
No.
I know. Talk a little bit about 6A, 6B, the new turns that we've got that has shortened the course, but how much is that going to play into the race today?
Oh, it'll play in for sure because everything kind of condenses into that 6A. And we saw yesterday, it was pretty tamed. I mean, Carson did get shoved off there, and that took him out of the race. And there was some contact. We saw Quapple and Connor have contact there. But they did a good job with the angle of where it's kind of wide getting in, narrows up, and then gets wide again to where it's not just a chaos corner, I hope. But Cup guys, they always take it kind of to that next level, And so they watched yesterday and they're like, ooh, I see a little bit of a gap. I'm going to go for that gap. So there is potential for risk there, but I think they've done a good job with, like I said, the angles to give it a little bit of forgiveness. You can go too wide, but I don't think you're going to aim for that. I think you're going to try to get single file before you get there. But on the restarts, you'll definitely have to protect or be on the aggressive side to not get put into a bad spot. So I think they did a good job. I think that it could have not been as well executed as they've done. So they did good.
Awesome. Michael, it's always a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you guys.
brother.
Thank you.
A big round of applause for Michael McDowell, number 71. It's great to have him here on the show. Come on, show us some love, Texas.